Everyone. This is Preetham from IIITDM Kurnool. On behalf of my course assignment, I am going to be explaining a topic for EMC, which is electromagnetic compatibility. And before getting into this topic, I would like to pose a few questions which you can think about, and they are, yeah. How many of you have ever experienced interference in your devices, like hearing static noise on phone call or radio due to nearby electronics? Or have you ever wondered why electronic devices must pass certain certifications before they can be sold? Or have you ever seen the CE mark on the devices? Do you know what it signifies? Or what do you think will happen if all electronic devices can interact with each other? These are some of the very few, these are some of the interesting questions which I would like to pose. And now let's get into the topic, which is EMC, electromagnetic compatibility. What this EMC comprises of is a combination of EMI and EMS. What is EMI? EMI is electromagnetic interference or emission, which is electromagnetic energy emanating from one device which causes another device nearby to have a degraded performance. What this means is all electronic devices tend to radiate, and those radiations which are caused by these devices have impact on other electronic devices, and that impact is what known as electromagnetic interference or emission. And the other one is electromagnetic susceptibility, or also known as immunity, which is ability to function properly in its intended electromagnetic environment, or tolerance in the presence of electromagnetic energy. What is this? Basically, as I said, that EMI is what when a device radiates and it tends to affect other device nearby. But opposing this effect or not degrading the performance is what we call this EMS or immunity. If you have if a device has high immunity, that means that it is highly resistant to the EM waves. Even in high radiation, it tends to work properly or as intended. Now, what EMC is an ideal electronic device which radiates very less or ideally doesn't radiate and also has high immunity. Even at high radiation, it is working as intended. Now that is what EMC signifies. Now all the electronic devices in the industry are set to follow or like follow the EMC tests. Only then you are able to release your product in the market. Now we are going to define a EMC problem. Now how do we define an EMC problem? For defining an EMC problem, there must be three elements, which is the disturbing source or the culprit, or the susceptibility circuit, which is the second one, or the victim. The third one is the coupling part between the sources and the susceptibility circuit. Now, what do you mean by interference source or the disturbing source or the culprit? This is where the radiation is being emitted, which is it might be magnetic field or electric field or combination of both, which is electromagnetic field. And the culprit here is being, or the sorry, the victim here is being affected or having a reduced performance or malfunction in the device. And the connecting part of this radiation which travels to the victim is what we call the coupling part. Now, this problem can be solved if one of these three elements is eliminated. Now, we will look into these three elements, which are sources of EMI or the culprit. EMI is everywhere. Electromagnetic interference is everywhere. Sources of EMI include both natural and man-made. Man-made noise may be divided into intentional and unintentional sources. Now, let's have a discussion about the natural occurring electromagnetic interference. Natural are something like lightning or the radiation from the sun. These are the natural sources of radiation. But man-made radiations are like cell towers or the power lines which we see are what intentional or you can say man-made. Now intentional sources are which must radiate in order to perform their functions like mobile phone, laptop, they tend to radiate as their functions. Unintentional sources include computational devices, switches, applications, tool, motor, etc. that generate EMF. Now we'll look into the second element, which is the coupling part. Now, for coupling part or crosstalk to occur, there must be a coupling path between the source, which is the culprit, and the susceptibility circuit, which is the victim. Now, the coupling can be of many types, and the classification is electric field or capacitive coupling, magnetic field or inductive coupling, or electromagnetic field, EM wave coupling. And not only coupling can not be occurred through medium, but other sources of coupling are through wires or the physical traces, which are any wires or PCB traces connecting the source and the victim circuit, or common impedance coupling when you have a common ground, and these things can also be the act as a coupling part. This is the EMI source, this is the coupling part, and the victim circuit. Now we will look into the mechanism of coupling. The effect of interference on the receptor circuit depends on five things, and those are the strength of the source, the transmission medium, the proximity of the source, the coupling mechanism, and the degree of susceptibility of receptor. As you can see, the coupling mechanism between the source and receptor can be very complex. To reduce this complexity, we are dividing into converting them into easier terms, which is radiated and conductor mechanism. As I said, EMC is classified into emission, susceptibility, and now further classified into radiated EMI, conducted EMI, radiated EMS, conducted EMS. What are these radiated and conducted terms? We'll look into this. So we have two electronic devices. Let's name it as electronic device 1 and the other one as electronic device 2. So, as I said, let's assume this as a mobile phone and this is something like a laptop. So, they tend to radiate externally through a medium. Now, this radiation which is produced here will affect this device, and simultaneously this radiation will affect this device through a medium. Right now, the medium is air. Now, what we call the radiator EMI. Okay, this is what we call as radiated one. Now we'll look into a conducted EMI, which is same two devices. Let's assume as mobile phones, but we will connect them to a common voltage source, or in our case, it's a charging plug. You are charging the device here, also due to which you are having the same ground. Let's assume that. So due to which, for example, this device is producing some EM wave, which is traveling into the wire and into the common one, and also getting impacted on this device. Now, also this simultaneously, this will also produce some EM wave, which is also being transferred into this device. Now, this is what we call as a conductor EM. And similarly, the power to shield this from getting deformed or getting malfunction is what we called as conductor EMS or susceptibility. And also the shielding effect or the ability to protect itself from the radiated EMI is known as radiated EMS. Okay. Now we'll go back to our topic. Yeah. So whatever I explained here is what it is written. See, radiated immunity, which is the ability to protect itself from the radiated, which is described by medium as air, and conductor is to a wire. Similarly, the emitted radiation from a wire is as conducted emission, and the radiated medium is radiated emission. So yeah. Now we'll end this topic by showing an example of how dangerous the devices can be when there is no proper checking of EMC. Early anti-lock braking systems or ABS systems on both aircraft and automobiles were susceptible to electromagnetic interference. Accidents occurred when brakes functioned improperly because EMI disrupted the ABI control system. During the early years of ABS, some automobiles equipped with ABS had severe braking problems along a certain stretch of the German autobahn. The brakes were affected by nearby radio transmitters, so they were affected by the radio transmitters, due to which it caused the malfunctioning. of the control system of ABS, which caused a lot of accidents. So it is very important for an electric device or a gadget to be tested in EMC before it is being used in our daily life. So yeah, that's about what I wanted to say. Thanks for watching.